Guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Make or Break show. This is episode number 3, and we are hanging out with Evan and Katelyn, dynamic duo, married duo, all the way from Houston, Texas. They are doing some amazing things over on YouTube, especially in the DIY space. One of the things I really liked about this interview is we got to hear from folks that are working as a team, especially a team that's married, and they're doing a bunch of different projects. They actually just really got going, especially on YouTube back in March, but they've been doing some home DIY stuff online for quite a while. Their videos are so much fun. They're a blast to watch, and just the dynamic between them two is so cool. They talk about how they have really gone out and learned from other people, whether it is William Osmond, who's coming up on the podcast in a couple weeks out in California, or they're going to Maker Faire in New York. They really are trying to learn from everybody, and you can tell that in their projects. They're doing a bunch of different things, whether it is remodeling a garage, to building a side table out of 2x4s, to recently getting into CNC and making these really cool topographical, I think that's how you say that, maps. They're really cool too. But they're a blast, and you guys are definitely going to enjoy them. Make sure and check them out at Evan and Katelyn on pretty much every single social platform, as well as website that you can think of. And then also, if you guys are listening to this, this is actually just the second interview episode, even though it's episode number 3. And if you guys are enjoying this and you want me to keep on going, the number one way that you can support this show is by leaving a rating and review over on iTunes. So just click that review, leave me a review. It can be honest, it can be 5 stars, and that would be amazing, but it doesn't have to. But I would greatly appreciate that. Also, if you guys are listening to this on iTunes, there's actually a video version of this as well over on YouTube. If you just go to the Make or Break show, just put that in, and it will show up, and you guys will be able to actually watch our faces as we talk. So without further ado, let's dive into our interview with Evan and Katelyn. Well, we want to welcome you guys back to the Make or Break show. We're hanging out with Evan and Katelyn. Colin, you guys are in Houston right now, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, calling it all the way in. We are excited to chat with you guys. The very first husband and wife team, I think. I think you're the only husband and wife team I've seen on YouTube doing DIY videos, which is really fun. But cool, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that there are a few other husband-wife teams, but most of them are furniture makers that are doing it as like a business and everything. So
when I was watching your first video, like my wife loves like almost everybody, like Chip and Joe, like up in Waco, and I was like, in like your guys' banter, I'm like, oh, they got like that going on. That's really fun. So, well, cool. Well, we want to kind of get into your guys' background, I guess individually, before you were doing stuff together. When you guys were both growing up, was like making and DIY, was that something like part of your guys' stories?
For me, not too much. I was really into art.
Okay, cool.
So
which is making.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's making something, you know. And I would do more like crafty things, but never picked up a tool. So all of that is very, I guess, didn't really start till adulthood.
Yeah. What type of art stuff were you into?
I mean, I did mostly super nerdy, like fantasy and sci-fi art and like video game fan art. So.
Oh yeah.
That was my jam.
That's
Legend
cool.
of Zelda. She has some solid sketches.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, like even from when she was like less than 10, she was doing like real drawings and everything. She has notebooks full of them.
That's cool.
She's modest. They're really good.
Yeah. I was super into like Lord of the Rings, so I had like Aragorns like all over the place drawing like all the time. So.
Yeah, I definitely did like a Elijah Wood or a Frodo like fan art and sent it to Elijah Wood, and I got back a signed
Are you serious?
version of it.
That's
awesome.
I
don't know if he signed it, but I was pretty excited.
That's really cool. Evan, what about you? Were you into like the DIY or?
I always loved going to hardware stores like as a place to go. We're like, do you want to go get ice cream or something? No, I want to go to Ace Hardware. And I got a toolkit really early on. I didn't really get into making or DIY early on. I always wanted to be an inventor, so I loved tools and hardware and stuff like that. And of course, you know, the Legos and everything. But it seems like Legos are wide enough that it isn't really an indicator or anything.
Yeah.
But definitely loved doing things by hand. I always knew I was going to be an engineer. It was an easy career decision move for me. But I always knew that I wanted to head down a path of making and inventing and eventually doing my own company.
That's cool. That's real cool. So, did you guys meet in college? Did you meet after college? Kind of
First day of class.
First day of class. And where'd you guys go? Where'd you guys go to college?
Trinity University in San Antonio. It's like a smaller school.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then first time I met Katelyn, I had a crush on her.
Okay.
And she was dating someone else.
Oh,
And
no.
then later on, I had a crush on Evan like a couple of years later when I was single, but he was dating someone else. And so we were basically
just friends for 5 years.
Yeah, friends for 5 years.
And
then we started dating.
But it worked out really well.
It did.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's real cool. So, after you guys got married, what brought you to Houston?
Yeah.
I had a job here.
Okay.
So when we first started dating, she was actually in San Antonio and I was in Houston.
Oh, okay.
So the first time we hung out again after college, it was in San Antonio. And I had so much fun. Like I was like, we got to do this. Like
He just started coming every weekend.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then eventually we started dating and then I moved here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But we did the long distance. I mean, I'm doing long distance in air quotes. Some people do real long distance. This was 3 hours. So
Okay.
not that big.
Yeah. We went to San Antonio for the first time, I think last Christmas. I had no clue because I'm from Athens, Georgia, so like east of Atlanta, and I had no clue the Alamo was like in the middle of San Antonio. Like for some reason, I always thought it was like just out in the desert. And so we're like driving through downtown, and we're like, "Oh, there's the Alamo. This is really cool." So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So your guys' full-time job, are you guys still full-time other than YouTube, or kind of how is it, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, so I'm a full-time mechanical engineer working in the oil and gas industry. I do
cool.
downhole tool design, working on new project development, like R&D type stuff.
Gotcha.
And I'm a graphic designer doing some freelance right now. Kind of been gradually decreasing the amount of hours of work I do in that regard, so I can do more for YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
That's cool. So how did the YouTube piece come about? Or whose idea was it to do it?
I think it was your idea to start it. We wanted to get into
me.
video.
Yeah.
When we bought our first house, the house we're still in right now, we started a blog to like document DIYing everything. I mean, we were I was kind of cheap, so I didn't want to pay people to do stuff. So I was like, we can do everything.
Yeah.
Documented it. And then, it was always just kind of a hobby doing the blog though. And then we were like, we should get more serious about this. We wanted to find some sort of work that we both enjoyed that we could do together instead of, working typical 9-to-5 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided to try video. It was Evan's idea to start getting into video.
Mm-hmm.
So we had started thinking about it towards the end of last year, I think. And then in March, we actually started the channel, March of this year.
What was it about the video piece that kind of drew you guys to it?
I mean, there's a few things. One is we learned so much from videos, like from watching other videos, because we, went into redoing our house with no experience. So we found them super valuable. And I think another thing is just from like more of a business perspective, even though the YouTube space is crowded, there's a lot of people. It seems like there is more of a barrier to entry than the like other types of content creation, like blogging. Just because, for most people, it's a little bit harder to pick up a video and edit a video than it is to write a post.
And because there is that barrier to entry, it's there aren't as many people doing it.
Yeah, still a lot, but not
like the business level
Yeah.
that we wanted to go for. So it didn't seem as crowded. And also looking at like the type of media and content that, people are moving towards, TV seems to be
like going
down in viewership a little bit. And like online media really seems to be increasing. And I think that more and more companies are going to realize where people's eyeballs are, and they're going to want to, put ad revenue there. And with YouTube, it's kind of a win-win-win. Like ad money, instead of going to a big company, is going to small businesses. And instead of watching annoying ads, there are ads on YouTube, but like it's not as bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
like sponsored ads.
Sponsored videos, yeah. And like I think the more annoying thing are the pre-roll ads that YouTube plays. But I think if more sponsors sponsor people in this space, then I think that most people can just get rid of those and just go with the sponsors. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Because
cool.
I'd rather hear like one of the people that I love on YouTube talk about a company that's supporting him as opposed to, I don't know, something that they haven't kind of pre-vetted. You know?
Yeah.
I know that generally the way that this works, at least what I've heard so far, is you're not going to work with a sponsor if you don't like them or their product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, that's why everyone's positive about the things that they're talking about. If they didn't like it, they'd say no. So it's kind of
Yes,
kind
it's
of,
a good ad.
it
like,
kind of works out for
by nature.
everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like win-win-win situations.
Yeah.
But I guess back to your question.
Oh yeah,
It seems like
totally sidetracked.
No,
I'll
you're
do
good.
that.
You're good.
it seemed like a good like business-wise, it seemed like a good decision.
Uh-huh.
But also, we just thought doing videos would be really fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of got into it because we, on the side, sort of documented like vacations,
yeah.
and we did the whole thing where we tried to take
1 second a day.
a second of video every day
cool.
and stitch it together at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So we had kind of like done some video stuff just for ourselves. So the combination of it seeming like a good business decision and us wanting to do more with video led to the decision to try YouTube.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
Yeah.
So what was it like then? Was your first video, was that the IKEA hack? The mom dresser? Is that right? Is that how you say that? I don't even know how you say that.
I think
Mom.
mom.
Yeah.
I mean, we're guessing too.
We thought we'd start with something like a little bit smaller and easier.
Yeah.
Mainly because we never filmed a project before, and we
Okay.
were like, okay, if we are totally terrible at filming something, like we don't want to get through an entire super difficult project and realize that the video sucked, so we'll test it out on a really
Yeah.
easy project.
Like retrofitting our garage, upgrading our garage was one of the ones we did shortly thereafter. And all the lessons we learned on the Malm, oh my gosh, we had this started with that big garage renovation. We would have missed so many clips, missed so many important things.
Yeah.
The first video that we made was such a big learning experience. I think that we put like 50 hours into filming or
Like
something.
way too
I don't
much
know,
for
way
such a
too
small
much.
project.
Yeah.
Take after take. Plus, I mean, I'm sure that anyone who started a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
unless you're very perfect for video charismatic, you don't talk the same
Yeah.
way. You know, it's like you have to learn how to be yourself, but also on camera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like your channel is one of the few. I mean, there are, of course, some, but where you do a lot of talking to the camera instead of just voiceover. I feel like most people rely on voiceover. So, I mean, it's definitely like gets. I mean, at least for us, we had to get used to seeing ourselves on camera and talking to the camera.
I was filming like an in shot of like a table in my backyard, and my wife was inside like watching TV, and I had to keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I look up, and she's just sitting there like filming me for like Snapchat, and then I was like, I can't do anything now, so I have to go away right now. But it's crazy. So all right, so how do you guys split it up? Do you have like a clear like this person edits, this person has the idea, or how do you guys do that?
It's kind of a mix. So some things are more on on my end, some things are more on Evan, and some we share. So like editing is mostly me. Like 95% me maybe, but like Evan does a lot more of the like technical design work. Like if we need to like do a 3D model of something or come up with like actual plans, or
website maintenance.
Evan also does our website, and you do a lot more like like I don't know what the right term would be, like more you're better at the business side of things.
No,
like
she's great at the business side of things. I think that I might be better about like just doing something and dealing with the consequences later.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I get us into stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Katelyn, we're doing this thing now, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
How do you guys split up the shooting? Do you guys kind of alternate, or how does that work?
We kind of alternate. Sometimes it depends on what's being done. Like if it's something that Evan's better at, I'll be like, okay, you do that because it's going to take me longer, and I'll film.
Like one of the things I just did, I just built a workbench. This was like, I wish we had filmed it, but we have this like mobile rolling mega workbench.
Yeah.
And I was home, and I was like, I'm just going to build this. And but I built it to Evan size.
Oh yeah.
I'm 6'5".
Yeah.
And
So there's
Katelyn's normal size. She just looks small because I'm tall.
Yeah,
there's something like we have like our bandsaw on top of there, but it's like reaching up here for me to try to do anything
awesome.
on the bandsaw. So I can only do it if I'm on a stepping stool, which isn't very safe.
Not
so
safe.
There's certain things that, one of us has to do instead of the other, but we try to like split it up pretty 50-50. So we're either both on camera and we'll just have it on a tripod, or one of us will have the camera. And we try to get like a pretty even split of who is off camera and who is on.
And the good thing is both of us like everything and both of us can do everything. Yeah. I don't honestly have the patience to do the fine tuning of the editing that Katelyn does.
Yeah.
Like she really gets it timed to the music and does everything precise. I'd slap it in there. But I love doing the rough cut, the edits, the story, the scripts, kind of like if you need to say anything
and
in
getting
particular.
Cool shots.
I love getting cool shots. Yeah. So it works out really well. We haven't ever had anything where one of us wanted to do something, one of us didn't want to do something.
Yeah, like it. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, the editing's fun. You guys have some of like the Casey Neistat, like the vlog style and like the music that thrown in there too, plus like the DIY side too. So, which is, I don't see, I was just watching your guys, I guess your six videos in like 5 days or something like that, like your grand tour of California. Yeah, and I was like, this is cool. So it was really fun. The personality piece is funny. I was actually talking with William Osmond earlier today. And then I didn't make the connection. You guys had been with them, so I mentioned you guys. It's like, oh yeah, they were in my shop a little bit ago. So how did the idea of doing like collabs with other creators, like Chris Salamone, like how did that all come about?
I mean, it seemed fun.
Yeah. Well, because also, I mean, like in these interviews and these podcasts and stuff, we can talk about all of the things that go into this, but. What
like
we're
that
doing,
go into like making and YouTubing.
That go into making and YouTubing, but most people out there in the world don't even know that this exists.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I would say that.
But I'd say that. Jimmy, it was on the Making It podcast. Jimmy is out in LA talking with like movie or TV producers, and they don't even know that people are making livings off of YouTube and doing DIY. I mean, these are people who are in TV, and they don't even know that YouTube is for like content, stuff like this. I'd say, I mean, we're in it, so we see a lot of people who understand it, but I think that the majority of the U.S. doesn't even know that this exists.
But I guess what Evan is getting at is
what was I getting at? Thank you.
Is that one of the reasons that we wanted to like, work with some other YouTubers and makers and get to know people in person is like you can talk about that kind of stuff that only other YouTubers and other makers can talk about and relate to, and if you try to talk about it with your friends, they're like, what? So
that was definitely another motivating factor. I mean, everyone knows a little bit from their experiences that could help so many people. And there probably are books or guides or learning resources out there. But the best way I've found, is just to talk to people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Especially since we're still relatively new. Like we're still very much in the absorbing knowledge phase.
Yeah. I think it was in Chris Salamone's video that he did with you guys, and they're like, it was one of your guys like first time using a jointer or something along those lines, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So like that stuff you can't get like just over even this like the podcast, like the hands-on stuff. So
yeah,
it was cool.
That's really cool.
Definitely want to do more. I think that the goal is for both of us to eventually go full time on this, and would love to go on like road trips and just go see people and do collaborations. It just seems like so fun.
Yeah. So did you guys have a moment where like a video really started to take off? Like you like woke up and you're like, what just happened? Or anything like that?
Yes.
We did with one video in particular. The concrete planner video went kind of crazy.
Yeah.
There's a period of time for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks where we were getting between 1,000 and 2,000 subscribers a day.
Dear Lord. Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. And even maybe that was like for a week of it. And then for the other week, it was still like 700, really 800 subs a day. And we were like, yes, we've made it.
Yeah.
Like we figured out YouTube. And then it went back down to like
way
down. Sub count.
Yeah.
But
it's just the algorithm and YouTube just doing its thing and no one knows what it is. I mean, you can try everything you can and there's a lot of best practices, but No one knows the algorithm.
But we did get to have that experience. And
Yes.
hopefully we'll have it again.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, that one. I think that was the first one that like popped up. Yeah, because I was getting pushed on the algorithm side of things. So I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So really
Nice.
fun. So on you mentioned a little bit like, I mean, you've only been going since March, like doing, is that right? When you guys started your first video? And you mentioned wanting to go full time. Are the videos you guys are doing now, is that kind of like, do you kind of feel like this is like the niche we want to be in, or are there like other things out there you guys want to get into, like other types of projects?
We definitely probably we would continue the type of stuff we're doing now, but we also want to like we come from the home blogging world where it's a lot of like home renovation and that kind of thing, so we want to incorporate some of that as well. We would probably start on our own house because we still have a little bit that we've been meaning to fix up. Cool. But we would like to get like an investment property or buy a new house and fix it up for us and like rent out our current house. I don't know, but we would really like to. We would really like to get into that.
We don't want to drop anything we're doing right now. We just want to add more.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But we want to keep on doing what we're doing and the whole variety.
Yeah, we want to keep it like a pretty wide variety of stuff.
Yeah.
Almost like Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, you know, where it's you don't really know what to expect every week. So we would like to be able to do whatever we want to.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's one thing that has worked well for us. We just do what we're really excited about and we have a lot of fun with it and people catch up on that, you know, and I don't know, it's hard to fake being enthusiastic.
Yeah. So
doing things that we like will be good for our audience too, because you know, it's a lot more pleasant to watch someone being happy than sad.
Yeah. And I think that was the first thing when I was watching your guys' videos was that sense of like, you guys really enjoy like being together, working together, and then like working on the projects. Like I was like, they're not like just faking this. Like this is really fun.
And that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to do a channel together. We wanted to start something where we could spend more time together. I mean, the person that you work or the people that you work with, your coworkers, are who you spend the majority of your life with, which is a crazy thing to think about. And I found this wonderful person that I love and I have this crazy connection to, and yet I won't spend the majority of my life with her. And I'm like, let's fix that.
Yeah, we need to be coworkers.
Yeah. So how do you guys handle, and you can get as personal as you want, but how do you guys handle like the marriage piece, and then also you're kind of doing this as a business? Like, do you guys have to separate it, like conflict and that kind of stuff? Like, is that been a learning curve for you guys, or you guys been good with it?
Not
really.
Yeah,
yeah, it hasn't really been difficult.
The only difficult parts of this for us has been the circumstances under which we're working.
Okay.
Late at night.
Yeah.
You know, like tired. So it's never been.
It's never been the work itself. Yeah. If something is stressful, it's because like we have to go up or get up and go to work the next day and like got to finish this video. But we haven't like, I don't know. There's not like a separation between like Evan and Katelyn business partners and Evan and Katelyn husband and wife. Yeah.
But also, I mean, we communicate a lot. We're over communicators, is I guess what I was gonna say. So we talked about this whole thing. I mean, before we started dating, we kind of talked about everything that we could potentially talk about. And but for this, we talk about our goals and our vision and where we want to go and where we're at, so that we're on the exact same page moving forward. So there isn't any like in the moment disconnects of anything, because we've already talked about why we're doing and what we're doing and our goals and everything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Communication always comes back to communication, seems like.
Yeah.
That's good. We'll see. Well, as we're kind of wrapping up here towards the end, a couple questions we definitely want to ask everybody. And this one will be a little bit different, I think, for you guys. So it's the Make or Break show. And so the first thing is the project you're most proud of making. But I want you guys to guess what the other person would say first before you answer.
Ooh. Okay. And this is of our projects that are on YouTube.
It could be on YouTube, or it could be something outside of YouTube too. Just something like you're really like, it doesn't have to be the most popular, but this is what I really enjoyed.
Okay, let's limit it to YouTube. That way people know.
Okay, yeah, because we did some for our blog and our wedding and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So projects. So the project we're most proud of, the end product or the video?
Let's go.
Those might be different.
Let's go the product.
The product.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what it is for me and for Katelyn.
Okay.
You're very confident. Maybe I'm going to surprise you.
You might.
Okay,
I'll
so you need to say, you have to guess mine first.
Okay, for you, I'd guess the side table.
Yeah.
And for me, what did you guess?
Well, I'm going to guess the side table.
It's the side table.
Well, okay, so.
There's a lot of reasons why we love it so much.
It was the first project where we in the beginning, a lot of our projects, we kind of knew how they were going to turn out. You know, they weren't anything too far from what we've done before. And the side table, and this is the 2x4 challenge side table, the 2x4 challenge side table.
For the Modern Maker podcast.
Yeah. It challenged us because we tried some new techniques that we'd never done before. We did angled datas, which is super fancy for us.
We iterated through 7 designs before we settled on our final design. So we had that design going into
we went to a design process.
That's cool.
We of course had to redo that because we didn't cut enough wood mid project, and we just kind of winged it. But we hit it was one of the first projects where we hit a lot of challenges. And we tried a lot of
advanced things that we probably shouldn't have, but I'm glad we did.
I'm glad we did. Yeah, we should have.
We should have. We should have. Yeah.
And we really like how it turned out. It was, and it was one of those there was a time limit because it was for the challenge, and so it was one of those multiple late nights and running back to Home Depot 100 times.
And it's right there, and it's substantial.
Yeah, we use it every day.
That's supposed to in your house. Yeah.
So crazy good, and I can't believe that it's 2x4s.
Yeah.
We found some awesome 2x4s. I've never found 2x4s that good.
We developed our 2x4 finding skills, all these things. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Cool. All right. So on the break side of things, has there been a moment where something's gone wrong that really stands out? And is there something on the flip side you'd say you've really learned because of it, a lesson learned?
Oh, I mean, there's a couple projects in particular that.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about a lot of failures.
We mess up a lot, and we try to include it a lot.
The side table had a lot of failures. We didn't cut enough legs, but we dealt with that pretty easily through a redesign. Things were bending. We got some angles wrong. We had to recut some things.
Well, I think for me, so if we're picking one that we learned the most from, I think for me it was probably the candle holders. It's one of our more recent videos.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those things where we from the beginning cut things not straight on our table saw, and we just kept trying to force it to work because we didn't want to redo those pieces. So at every stage of the game, there was a different challenge that we had to finagle because we didn't cut things straight in the beginning.
We were also under a time crunch because we wanted to get this filmed before the hurricane hit. And
so there's that too.
I mean, it seems a little bit trivial now because of everything that happened and the impact of it. But at the moment, we were we need to get this done before the hurricane hits.
That was my there's the most challenges, and I guess lessons learned would just be two things. One is it's better to just if you're trying to do this the correct way, it's probably better just to fix that initial mistake because it's gonna affect everything moving forward. But if you're gonna do this, the other thing I learned, which is kind of pushing in the other direction, is you could kind of finagle stuff and just make it work. So don't get too stressed out if you mess something up. At least if it's
I learned lesson 2.
I probably learned more of that. At least if it's what we're doing it for, which is YouTube. It's not we're making it for a client and selling it. Then
if we were making it for a client, we would have redone it.
Right.
We see those sitting there too, and that just makes me happy seeing them. Yeah. So it all works out in the end.
Yeah, that's cool. And I mean, I'd feel bad if I didn't ask. As far as the hurricane, all that kind of stuff, how are you guys doing? I watched the video and I saw the water. And I'm like, man, they have a river in front of their house. This is nuts.
Yeah. We're okay. We didn't really know how bad it was going to be at the time when there was water coming like halfway up our yard. Luckily it never got into the house. The family's okay. We knew a lot of people that weren't okay. It was like you could, think of someone and flip a coin and you didn't know which side of it they'd be on.
Yeah. But it's the great thing is like so many people pulled together. There's still charities ongoing. There's still a lot of volunteering going on. I think I was just impressed by the response from the locals around here and how everyone dealt with it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, sweet. Well, I appreciate you guys chatting with me, hanging out on a, was this Thursday? I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, Thursday night. Is there... Is there a spot that you guys would send people? Is it just YouTube, or is there kind of a home base you'd want people to go to if they wanted to check your stuff out?
So we do have a website. We're going to be upgrading it soon. So don't
go
there.
To it yet.
Okay.
Mainly YouTube. So just search Evan and Katelyn on YouTube, and our Instagram, we're pretty active on.
Yeah. We're trying to maybe set up to 2 a day and do more stories.
Yeah. We're trying to prevent.
But we're
commit to nothing.
Maybe if we say it, then we'll have to do it.
Yeah.
And then we're also pretty active on Twitter. Again, our handle's Evan and Katelyn. Like we keep it pretty consistent.
We've definitely picked up our Twitter game because like you can embed GIFs.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I love using GIFs as responses.
We're just starting GIF wars with everyone.
Yeah,
that's our Twitter strategy.
Or Katelyn started a Photoshop war a little bit ago. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, you don't mess with the graphic designer. She'll pull off some big time stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool.
So yeah, I guess those would be the main. So YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, Evan and Katelyn across the board. Oh, and we're trying to step up our Patreon game.
Oh, cool.
So
we're doing more video blogs. We're doing more swag. We are giving away T-shirts to the top level tiers and everything. So
yeah, so
we're definitely going to focus more there soon.
So if you find us on those other avenues and you like our stuff, please check us out on Patreon and plug.
And plug.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. It was a blast chat with you guys, especially seeing the projects you guys are doing. Looking forward to the stuff you have coming down the pipe. It's really cool.
It's so great chatting with you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great chatting.